Hey, this is Eric from Catching Light.
Hey, this is Hemp.
Hey, this is Glenn.
Hi, I'm Steve-O.
Hey, this is Drew Hines with Hindsight Imagery.
This is Matt Callahan at Digimatty Photographic Services.
Hey, this is Jason, and welcome to Tales from the Pit. Welcome back to Tales from the Pit, your behind-the-lens access for concerts and photography. Today we have part 2 of our interview with Justin Press. Justin, what's going on with photography for you nowadays?
So, dude, right now, man, you know what? Focus is on shooting, now that I've moved coastal here, shooting water. I'm big into, like, environmental, just shots of the ocean, the water, the Gulf, lakes, just kind of trying to build a sense of atmosphere again.
Yep.
I mean, the French Quarter is great for that type of thing. It's funny, when I first moved here, and this COVID happened and the streets down French Quarter, when no one's down there, is somewhat an eerie place. There's like, this place 300 years old. It's just kind of crazy. So Tom Dempsey, you remember him? The kicker that kicked the record?
Yep.
Anyway,
Yep.
He passed away. I mean, obviously, he made notoriety when he was a Saint when he did that thing. So girlfriend has an old Saints helmet from back in the day. So I took the Saints helmet and put it in the middle of like one of the streets in French Quarter, like Royal and like Bourbon. No one around but the city backdrop in French Quarter. The helmet, took a photo of it, sent it like NOLA.com, and they're like, I think at the time I used a Leica on it. I borrowed a Leica Q. And Leica Q, like the pages were like, they had it for a while. They displayed it for a while. So I was just like, all right. Doesn't always have to be about music or people.
Awesome.
So, dude, man, I'm just I don't know what we're all going to do. It's funny. I might go to shoot some local shows just to get that memory muscle going again, because it's like anything. It's like people are like, wow, no one's hiring. I'm like, take a part-time job, learn that muscle memory of working again and working with people and being on time and being responsible for something. It doesn't matter what it is. And photography is the same way. I'm like, if I don't get out there and start shooting what I love shooting, which is live music, I'm going to forget how to shoot properly and, not look for the moments anymore and just, so.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
Yeah. So, it's like anything. And I fall like anyone else. Sometimes I'll fall lazy and just use my iPhone. It's what I have with me and I'll take a photo and they're so good nowadays. You're like, this is as good as any compact, I suppose.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, how are most people viewing these things anyway? So that's what you have to take in mind.
I mean, literally, it's just an Instagram post with like a 30-second clip or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. So that's kind of my story on how I got to this point. I always continue to shoot and things like that. But I think like anyone else, you guys probably run at this where like you feel very uninspired.
Lately.
It's writer's block for photographers.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing for us, I mean, right now we're just kind of doing our own thing. We got some of us have weddings and stuff like that, which is kind of the same old. But when you're a venue shooter, when you shoot for an actual venue, you're going to be shooting a wide variety of artists from anywhere from comedians to heavy to country, you name it. So the cool thing is for a venue photographer is you have a wide variety of stuff, and you'll learn a lot about different artists. Because I'm a head-banging hard rocker, and I shot my first country stuff last year, and that was some of the friggin' craziest shows I've ever seen. Was country shows on a hot drunk, sold-out crowd. The crowd is insane.
Well, what I love about the country shows is we all revert back to how they are and how they congregate in the parking lot.
Yeah,
that becomes its own scene. It becomes like almost like a Buffett thing.
Yeah,
that's what country acts are. Whether it's Chesney or Aldean or any of those guys, they kind of have this. It's a big party atmosphere. So a lot of great photos they have there, and their shows are just as bombastic as any rock show now. And that's the thing. Was like when these country artists utilize flame pods and all this other shit. I'm like, wow, that's jumped the shark. It's no longer cool. I mean, it's serious. I'm like, I'd rather just have a band get out there and kill it with a back line and just, give me some emotion in your face. I don't need to be blown away by your production anymore. I need something else. But I got to ask you guys, the hardest thing in the world must be to shoot a comedian.
I have never done it myself, so.
So
I wouldn't even know how to shoot a comedian. What are you looking for? The laughs in the audience? Or are you looking for that? You know, Cat Williams is always great with those expressions.
Yeah.
These crazy, like wild-eyed expressions after he does a joke, and people are like, but I can't imagine someone who, like, you know, Bill Burr or something like that, who's just kind of like pretty, always the same, you know.
yeah, one of the shows we had this year that was on the books was Steve Martin and
Martin Short.
Martin Short. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that you know, I think something like that. I mean, you got a big name like that, so people will like to see that photo. But it's really about the crowd interaction with that sort of thing.
I took one photo. I took actually several. A lie, because I had really good front row, lower balcony seats for Cleese and who Cleese do? John Cleese and who's the other guy from Python that does comedy still?
Shoot.
I remember.
Shit.
I know
Help me
you're
out.
talking
Can
about.
anyone pull up Monty Python real quick? We can run down their names.
Yeah, hold on one second.
Here we go.
Hemp's typing away.
Who's going to be?
I'm on it. Oh, John Cleese, Terry Gilman, Eric Idle.
There you go. It was
Yeah.
Cleese and Idle. And, you know, man, my mom's English. I grew up in my early life in England. And in high school, even in like grade school, my brother was big into Python. It was just became part of the family. So when I went to see them like 3 years ago and they did their tour and they did like very few cities, I was like, these are bigger than any rock star I've ever known in my life. These are bigger than Gene Simmons, they're bigger than Paul Stanley, bigger than Robert Plant to me. Because they're like, they changed the entire landscape for comedy. And so I went and shot them. And I was just in the balcony, had like my little Rico GR with me, man. And I just took a photo of them two sitting there, and there's like a backdrop of Grail behind them. And they're two sitting in these overly sized, like cushioned chairs. And you're like, I look at the photo, I'm like, to me, it was the greatest photo I'd ever taken. Because it captured the two people who are part of the group that affected me more than anyone.
Yeah.
And I was just like so proud of that photo because I look at the thing going, man, like my family would be so stoked to know I'm here.
Yeah, that's
You know?
awesome.
And
That's
just like, it was just one of those cool moments where you're like, man, I can't believe I'm around these people and we're all laughing the same freaking jokes about a parrot in a cage that's dead or wherever. It's just like stupid shit. I'm like, but this is great. Their stories are great. And so, yeah, man, that's one of those things. So that's the only comic I ever shot. One time I tried to shoot Henry Rollins and I reached out to Henry and he goes, I said, hey, Henry, you know, I'm going to be shooting. I'm a photographer for this weekly. You know, would you mind if I give him a show? He goes, hey, Justin, help things are great. Nope. He had no time, which I love. I kept that email because I'm like, that is the greatest, like, hey, no dancing around. I was like, nope, don't need you.
that's totally Henry Rollins too, right?
Totally Henry Rollins.
So where did you grow up?
Do what?
Where did you grow up?
I was born in D.C. My dad was in Navy, so I was born in D.C. And then as soon as they pulled me from my mom's womb, we got on a flight to England. And my dad was then stationed in Scotland.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
And then then he got moved to like Tunisia, then up to Germany, Japan, and then back to Scotland before he retired. So when I was growing up, I was over there with just, you know, other Navy brats. And then we moved back to Virginia. And after a while, my dad, I think we were all back in Virginia. We're loving it because we're back in the DC area. We love it there. And my dad decides, I'm going to assume, he walked in one day, my brother's in high school, I'm in elementary school. We built our friends again because when you're a Navy kid, that's a good thing too about like touring is like your DNA is kind of a gypsy. You know, you're moving like, hey son, we just moved to this new place. Don't make friends or like, don't get too close to them because we're leaving in 8 months. So you learn to kind of weave your way in and out of like, just people, you know, cliques or whatever you want to think, scenes. But it was funny. So we moved to DC and one day my dad comes to the house and I remember I was probably in the den listening to like, I think I was either listening to Sheer Heart Attack by Queen or like K-Tel. And I think it was in the middle of like Michael Martin Murphy's, like, what is that song he did? Like the song about the horse running. I can't remember. Anyway, something. God
Is that Wildfire?
There you go. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, brother. It was like track 3, like on K-Tail's greatest hits of 74, 5 or whatever the hell it was. Anyway, so my dad goes, hey, guys, we're going to be moving to Texas. Where's Texas? Why are we moving to Texas? What's there? Oh, I think we just need to change. I'm thinking, no, we don't. I want to be a Virginia Cavalier, Dad. That's where I want to go to college. Anyway, long story short, we moved to Texas. And thankfully where we moved, they had an arena. And that's where I first started seeing my live show. So I think the first show I saw was the Kiss Destroyer tour. And then after that, I saw Zeppelin, I saw Floyd on the Animals tour. I saw all these bands they're enshrined.
Yeah.
And my buddies never got a chance. Only because my parents were cool enough to go, hey, we'll take you to the show.
That's awesome.
We'll go. We hate this, but we'll go. And then my brother got to a point where he could drive, and then basically was like, hey, if you pay for the tickets, I'll take you to what shows you want to go to. And I think the first show he took me to was the Cheap Trick Dream Police tour. And awesome. I just got done with a Little League game, and I was still wearing my Little League outfit. I the sweat, the pants, and the hat, and everything else. I was like, yeah, shit. But I remember the tickets were like $5.50 a piece, and that took me 3 neighbors' lawns to accumulate. Ended up being $15. I was charging way too little for what I was doing because I was a naive kid. I just wanted to make enough to get those tickets.
Right. No kidding. That's
so,
awesome.
Dude, it's funny. It's when I think about that, I talk to my friends and I'm thinking, man, how early I started going to shows and being interested in music, man, I should be running Live Nation at this point. What the hell did I go wrong? Where did I go wrong? I should have I don't know. Maybe I should have gone to law school. That would have helped.
What got you to move to New Orleans?
Personal reasons. Mostly. Yeah. So, and believing me, I used to visit here when I was living in Texas, and I'm like, it's a cool town, but I don't think I can survive longer than a week in here because I cannot see what I'm doing. I'm walking blind here. I was like, how do people even live here?
Yeah.
Little did I know that there was actually some place outside of the French Quarter and the bars that existed. So it's got its own vibe, man, for sure. I'm still learning it. It's still learning it. And, we did Shiprock this year out of New Orleans, and we had a big second line parade, and it couldn't have been more perfect. So I was like, well, man, maybe this is a sign I need to be here. I don't know, man. I don't know. But the funny thing is I get here a week later, we're closed down for business. I'm like, well, shit, it's going to have to wait.
Right.
So yeah, dude. So that's why I'm here. And it's really weird, dude, because I am not a sweater. I'm not big into the sweating thing. And boy,
I'm with you on that one.
Rough. It's rough.
Oh, yeah,
but man, it's my girl's tour manager, and so it's good to be with someone who knows the business. And yeah, man, it's good. We can talk shop all the time, so it's just really good to have that in the household.
Yeah, and you guys can
understand each other's. Do
exactly,
I know?
Yeah. I was gonna say you guys can really understand the daily challenges.
She was finishing up a tour in the spring, and she was going to head out with a new gig on Live Nation as the tour rep for Santana and Earth, Wind and Fire. So she was gonna have to wait a year.
That's a bummer.
I was waiting for those stories. I wanted some good Earth, Wind and Fire stories.
I'm impressed with your whole background and history. It's pretty cool.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I really do, man. It's
inspiring.
Thanks, man. The truth is, dude, these kind of things are great because I do get in the malaise like anyone else when you're not doing it, and when you can actually get around photographers and talk photography and the business of music photography and just the quirks of it all. It's really good. It's refreshing. So I'll walk away from this interview with my toes tapping without sounding a little corny. But yeah, man, it's funny because we all sit there and go, I shot this show, man. My shots are the shit. And then you look at someone who shot the show with you going, where was I during that shot? Because that shot's amazing. So I've never been, one thing too, man, is I've always been so supportive of other photographers. And again, this business, is like another one. It's like, people deride you, shoot you down. Dude, there's no more Thunderdome than going on some freaking forum for photography. Since when did this become such an arrogant, it's not even professional. Really, for those people, it's probably a hobby.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe some professionals there, but I've never heard such. When you bring up what you're shooting or the new specs on the camera, it's like warfare. I'm like going, it's all about the finished product, man. What are you creating with that contraption that you're ragging on or you're touting? but I've never heard anything like it. And that's the way the thing I never really engage in those things because I'm like, it's like, you know what, fighting with someone on the internet is like, you know, fighting with someone who ate paste in high school or school. They're there.
Yeah.
They're not all there.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I'm always like, well, let's see your photos. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you drug out here, you know? That never comes to light.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I gauntlet. But dude, man, you know what, man? Photographers all around, other guys I shoot with, people I see on tour, people I run to like you, and I start now become friends. I start looking at your work, and it's inspiring, man. It's good. It's like, man, I got to either up my game or I got to look at things differently. Or basically, what you try is like, how can I circumvent this by shooting differently? What am I going to do to set myself apart?
right.
Because there's some great photographers out there that shoot, whether they're shooting for like Access Live or something like that, or like Rolling Stone or whatever. And boy, are they so stock? You're going, I know this is what the editor asked for because they haven't a creative bone in their body, but this is what you're going with.
Right.
And it's like, man, you're in the wrong business. This takes a vision, man. It takes a certain eye. It takes a certain, I want to go through photos and go, hold on. Holy shit. Look at that. Look at the angle. Look at the cut. Look at the micro contrast there, man. That guy was on point with that shot.
Yeah.
Or girl, sorry.
I think he brought on a new episode for us.
Do what now?
Yeah.
I think he's brought on a new episode for us because you mentioned that the crowd shots are
Is that stapled
impresses
behind
you the most.
Is that Chris behind you?
Mark, Glenn, who's behind you? Who's your photo?
Oh, that's Chris. Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Stapleton.
Yeah. That's
Look at
Chris.
that, man. You know what? Enough of the eyes are hidden, but the hair and the beard are there. You know who it is right away. I mean, I don't struggle with that.
Yeah. He's
I mean, he's great. And the way he holds a guitar super high. Same way with Jamie Johnson, man. You know how they hold a guitar. You know, it's like Willie. It's like the best picture of Willie.
Yeah.
They're no longer about the braids or his hand. It's his beating up that shit hands and that same old guitar he's had since 1960.
Yep.
We have some guys that have shown photos just recently of Willie, and they're very impressive.
Yeah. Literally, that was, I think, last week's episode. That was the exact photo one of our guys shot. Nice close up of the guitar with the hand, the beat up guitar, with the marks all over it.
Yep.
Story, man. That's his whole career in those shots.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who I love shooting, but I don't love shooting. I love shooting Kiss because it's Kiss, and they give you this whole thing. I don't like artists who sit there and work the camera pit, giving you the shot, holding it. I know there's some people very appreciative. I'm like, man, I want to chase the shot, man. Make me work. Make me work for this freaking shot so I can feel proud leaving this arena.
Yep.
You know, it's great. I let Paul Stanley, hey, pick on the tongue. Great. Thanks, bud. I'll send this to my editor. He'll be stoked. He'll go, God, how good you are to get him that shot. I'm like, yeah, he held that shot for like 10 seconds, bro. If I didn't get it, I don't need to be doing this.
Right.
So,
and every show of the tour is that same shot by every photographer.
And that's the thing too, man. It's like, just give me as a fan of photography, something I hadn't seen. And there's people like, it's like Ross Halfin, man. You know, everyone's like, oh, Ross. I'm like, Ross, two iconic shots. I think the one is obviously Angus back in 1980 for Back in Black. That one thing where I think he was playing the Apollo or something in London. That's how you know you're a photographer, when you know exactly where they shot a fucking photo 50 years ago. Yeah, crazy. But and then like some other shots. But like his stuff, it's just about, with guys like that's access. He's getting shots no one's going to get. That's it.
Yeah.
So I never look at Ross's stuff and go, man, he's so technically profound. I'm like, no, he's not. And I'll admit it. He goes, man, I'm an average photographer. I just have access to no one else does.
Yeah, I am a huge Ross fan, primarily because he was Def Leppard's photographer for years.
Yeah.
You know, and I grew up being a huge Def Leppard, so every image of Def Leppard is Ross.
Absolutely. Yeah, that period for sure. Obviously the same with Metallica for the certain period.
Right. AC/DC, all that. Yep.
But, you know, and obviously Maiden for a long time until they got John McMurtry.
Yep.
And but I also love Ross too, because he loves putting his foot into the nuts of PR agents.
I've heard stories about him. And
yeah, he doesn't take no, and I love it because he's such a diminutive little guy.
Yeah.
But he's
I've heard
ornery.
stories
So,
about him and Ozzy batting heads a lot, but Ozzy still hires him.
Ozzy likes the fact the little Cockney guy's yelling at him. So, yeah. Have you ever been there and you're sitting there and you got the eyepiece up and you get the shot? And you didn't machine gun it. You actually took some diligence and took the shot. You ever sit there and go, man, I think I'm going to be really proud of this shot before you pull the thing away? You know,
Yeah,
I don't even like chimp anymore. I don't go. I just I'll walk over after I'm done. I'll pull up my little thing, like my little card reader, feed it into my phone, and kind of go through some photos.
Yep.
And figure it out there. But there's those shots where you pull them away. Of course, 8 out of 10 times you go, I think I nailed that shot. You look at it, finally go, oh, this shot sucked.
Yeah.
My eyes are just
Yeah, there's been several shots where the moment was just this magical moment that it's one of a kind moment with a crowd fan or whatever, and you're like, man, I hope I got that shot. I hope I got that shot. And you look at it, and like it was focused on the microphone instead of the actual artist or something like that.
Oh, that dude, I've gotten so criticized for sometimes like, man, the mic stands in a way. I'm going, hey, Nita Strauss, can you move this way so your mic? No, dude, that's the moment.
Yep.
I'm not going to sit there. Again, they're looking for like, sometimes these photographers, I'm like, are you looking for like an advertising shot? Are you looking for an ad shot or a tear? What are you looking for? A tear sheet? I'm not going, you got to capture it then and there. If a mic stands there or like the mouthpiece of the mic is there because they tend to be those big spongy things. I'm going, piece of shit, man. You got the shot. You got some cool shit. So,
Yep.
Right, also, one thing that bothers me more than anything about concert photography, and there's certain people that do it, is the hyper colors that they put into those when they're processing post. I'm like, some people should be like outlawed on posting, on like post processing. I've never seen anything like it. I'm like, just give me straight out of the camera, man. I'll figure it out. But I'm like, my eye can't see that color. How in the fuck that color doesn't exist. That shade of blue does not exist.
Yep. Sometimes I am guilty of that because I'll use filters and stuff like that. And, I'll take a shot that maybe it's just a washed out blue. And I'll be like, oh man, if it was a different color, it would pop more. And I'll put a filter on it that'll sort of do that. Unfortunately, it'll oversaturate some of the colors too. But yeah, there's definitely a mix of things that,
again, that's just whatever works for everyone's got an individual taste. Obviously it's what whoever's needing photos from you needs. If that works for them, you kind of build they know what look they're getting from you, and they're cool with it. Don't change that. But obviously, you got so many shots you've got for yourself that you're going to work with for your portfolio, for sale, or whatever you're going to do with it. But it's okay to say, hey, look, sometimes I got to be a corporate shield and give them what they want.
Yeah.
Even if I know
everybody's eye is different too.
Do what?
Everybody's eye sees different.
Absolutely. I mean, with glasses, man, I've kind of color blindness, so that's not a big win for me. And so black and white tends to be my thing because I'm like, I can figure that. I can understand. Plus, I mean, I'm old school. You see the shots of Miles Davis during the Blue Note days, and they're all in black and white. Like those things still stand up because they're black and white.
Timeless.
We talk black and white a lot, and how the passe colors and certain colors get washed out, but the black and whites are always going to be iconic and they're always nice.
But saying that, I'm a big fan of the History Channel's World War II. Thing, but now they do them in color as well, and it adds such a unique perspective to it. And I still prefer the black and whites if I had my choices, but seeing it in colors, it's definitely very interesting. Those Nazi reds come out really. So, again, gentlemen, thank you so much. Appreciate your questions. It's good to see some more people in the Brotherhood, and I really seriously appreciate it, and I look forward to the next time.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot, Justin. Appreciate your.
All right, you guys have a great rest of your evening and a terrific week.
We'll
Thanks.
see you later.
You
Man.
too. Stay safe.
You bet. Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching Tales from the Pit. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have questions or anything you'd like us to talk about concert related, email us at NHCONCERTPHOTOGS@gmail.com. Again, NHCONCERTPHOTOGS@gmail.com. We'll see you next time.